Hello and welcome back. I hope you're safe, sound, and most importantly, all geared up for this e-session on 2D. Well, I won't nag you to like, subscribe, and share, but I earnestly request you to watch, comprehend, and learn. Well, this is the second session, that is part B of 2 the text from the Springs by Leo Tolstoy. In the initial part, we have already learned about the author Leo Tolstoy, the qualities of a leader, the story in brief. The description of the kingdom Monaco is provided. The king of Monaco is described. The crime that happens by the criminal and his trial is explained. And one most important thing, that is the problem that occurs, that is the hitch of not having guillotine and an executioner, is also explained. Furthermore, from here, I am going to explain the latter part of the text 2 Because the king did not have a guillotine, that is a machine to behead the criminal here, and also an executioner, he decided to call a meeting of his council members. So this was the first summon, that we call as the first meeting, wherein the king asked his council members to send a letter to the French government asking for a guillotine and an executioner. Well, please note, the French government quoted 16,000 francs. Francs is nothing but the currency of France. The king found 16,000 francs too dear, too expensive, too much to be given, because he felt that 16,000 francs would be 2 francs per head on entire population of 7,000. So the population of Monaco, the kingdom Monaco, was 7,000. So asking the entire population to give 2 francs per head would be too much. So he called for the second summon. Let us see what happens in the second meeting of the council members. This time, the letter was sent to the Italian monarch asking for a guillotine and an executioner. The king of Italy demanded 12,000 francs, and he stated that he could do that and include the traveling expenses as well in the same amount. The king felt that the rascal, that is the criminal, wasn't worth the expense, so he was agitated at the decision of shelling out 12,000 francs on the criminal. So he called for another meeting. So in the third summon, the council members decided to request the general of an army and asked the general to tell his army personnel to execute the criminal in much homely fashion. When the general asked his soldiers refuted by stating that they were not trained to do such a thing. They were quite forthright in their claim. As we all know, soldiers are trained to protect a kingdom or a country, but not to kill the people and punish them. So they frankly and forthrightly decided not to go ahead with such a thing. The king was further perplexed and asked his council members to meet once again. So, in the fourth meeting, that is, in the fourth summon, the council members decided to alter the death sentence to life imprisonment. So, the criminal was now to be imprisoned. The kingdom did not have a proper prison, so the king ordered the council members to set up a temporary lockup and station a guard. The expense of keeping the criminal came up to more than 600 francs a year. Once the king was going through his accounts after a year of keeping the criminal in the prison, and he felt that he wanted a cheaper way of dealing with the rascal. So he called for the fifth summon. The criminal was already in the prison for a year now, and he wanted to deal in a cheaper way with him. The decision was taken to dismiss the guard and let the criminal escape on his own. So, this is a mockery on a judicial system. The criminal went on to fetch his own food from the palace kitchen due to the absence of the guard. And he showed no signs of running away from the prison. Well, why would one run away when he is getting a proper shelter and proper meals? So, in order to set things right, the king ordered for the sixth summon, wherein the criminal was asked to run away by the council members because they could not further keep him in the prison. He in turn accused the commission of ruining his character and gave his own account by saying that he had nowhere to go. Further, he blamed the king and the council members of ruining his character and further claimed that they made him quite lazy because he was not working for a year or so. He accused them of ill treatment. He mocked them for mismanaging his sentencing and of their fluctuating mindset. He firmly refused to step out of the prison finally. So, the seventh summon was called, wherein the council members finally decided to abide by the claims put forth by the criminal, wherein he asked for a pension. So they offered him a pension to get rid of him. They fixed a sum of 600 francs as an annual pension and gave him one third of it in advance. One would love to be a criminal in such a kingdom at this juncture, because he committed a crime and he was being rewarded 600 francs, and it was given, the one third of it was already given in advance. After this, the criminal settled across the frontier of the kingdom and started market gardening. He visited the gaming house every month and lived peaceably. The gaming house, which was being run in the kingdom, was the source of entertainment for him. Well, this was the king of Monaco, who happens to be unable leader or an incompetent leader. Madam had already explained the qualities of an incompetent leader. I shall provide few reasons that are mentioned in the textbook why the king can be claimed as an incompetent leader, which are as follows. He is an unethical leader because he ran gaming houses in spite of its ill consequences. People were dying because of these gaming houses, because it caused too much of trouble for them financially, yet he ran them in his kingdom. Further, he happened to be an unclean leader. As far as his character is concerned, he was quite unclean because he believed in dishonest means of acquiring wealth. He was quite an arrogant as a leader because he was least considerate and least careful in his conduct. He was unprepared because he was quite clueless in dealing with a criminal. He did not know how to sentence a criminal when the crime occurred in his kingdom. He was indecisive because he was quite dependent on his council members for every decision that he had to take. He was ignorant because he was unaware of not having a guillotine and an executioner, which were predominantly two most important things to sentence a criminal. The leader was quite substandard, one can say so, because he kept on haggling, that is, bargaining, to deal with the criminal in a cheaper way. He happens to be imprudent because he lacked wisdom, as he wasn't firm on the verdict that he took, which, as we all noticed, kept on altering at least for 7 times. He was ill advised, of course, by the council members, and one can easily claim that he was a coward because he, being a king, succumbed to the terms and conditions dictated by the criminal. With this, we come to the end of the explanation of the second component of the springs, that is 2 deer. I'll be very pleased if you send the assignment at the earliest. Please note down the question. That is, the king of Monaco was an incompetent leader. Explain with relevant arguments that are provided in the text. Well, this is an essay answer which can be written for 6 marks. So kindly go through the video once again, both the parts, and you can easily write an assignment on this particular question. I hope the explanation was good enough. I hope the content produced was quite helpful. I wish you all the best. Stay safe and please take care of yourself. Ciao.